Joe, thank you for being here. Thank you for being at Unlocked and for being a huge supporter for Valkey over the last couple of years since its birth.
It's my absolute pleasure, and I'm just super appreciative of everything that Momento has done for the community and for Valkey, and couldn't be more excited to be a partner.
Thank you. What's your role at Amazon for the audience?
Yeah, I'm a director of product management for databases at AWS. I own a number of our AWS database products, including Elasticache and Valkey and Dynamo and TimeStream and Neptune and key spaces. So a lot of our non-relational database services in DC, a little bit of relational. I got DC equal now. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
All right. So large-scale distributed systems.
Exactly.
As I transitioned from Dynamo team to being on the cache team, I realized that there's two categories of engineers in distributed systems. There's the caching side, and then there's the database side. It seems to me that every cache wants to be a database when it grows up. Every database wants to eliminate the need for a cache. You have a unique perspective of managing databases and one of the largest caching services in the world. I'm curious how you see it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. It's I'll be in an Elasticache meeting, and customers start to talk more and more requirements for, like, that kind of sounds more like a database than a cache, and it's good feedback and that stuff, especially with MemoryDB, and we've gone down that path, and it's very valuable. And then I'll go to the next meeting an hour later, and it'll be a DynamoDB conversation with a customer that's building a cache on DynamoDB, and I'm like, whoa, like, you don't need all of this for DynamoDB. Like, we have a cache that does all this, and you'd probably reduce your costs, increase throughput and performance by optimizing for that use case. And customers have valid reasons and their own opinions on these topics, which we'll always 100% support. But you're totally right. There's always this kind of juxtaposition between the two. And then even within the relational world of we're always improving the utilization of memory and how efficient we can be to stretch what is possible in a relational database before people need caching. And that's and the thing I think is important for this is that's all good for customers, right? We're always kind of pushing the limit of what is possible and trying to simplify their lives.
Yeah, I feel like customers are always going to want things to be faster. They're going to want them to be cheaper, and they're going to be, and it's not just the latency of each data plane request, it's also how quickly they can get their stuff out the door.
Yep.
For Dynamo, at least in the early days, I found that people used it as a cache because it was just super convenient to just call create table and just start writing. I feel caches have caught up to that with Elasticache Serverless, for instance. You can actually just create a cache and start writing and get that experience as well. It's very gratifying to just have that aha moment where with these serverless technologies that you can just get going and just make it scale.
Yeah, and it's the new standard, like, especially with all this agentic development that's been going on. Like AWS started, the comparison point was racking and stacking hardware and like buying licenses and having some guy go install it for you. And like, that's months worth of work.
Yep.
And then, spinning up an RDS instance was like 5, 10, 15, minutes. And it was groundbreaking.
That's right.
Now people are like, it took 3 seconds, like, that took too long, the agents want to go fast.
That's right.
That ease of use, and that ease of use will encourage people to use it more for more things. And I think that's what we're seeing kind of being redefined with serverless and a lot of the agentic workflows right now is, seconds, as far as database provisioning goes, seconds are the new minutes.
That's right.
And, we're going down into, milliseconds now of provisioning. So it just helps people do more faster.
Since the Valkey launch a couple of years ago, how has the adoption and innovation been? Like, is it exactly what you expected? Is it better, or do you think it would have been further along by now?
For me, it's exceeded expectations. When Valkey started, it's an unknown, right? We've all seen open source projects start and come and go.
Wither away.
And like with variable success, and like it's really a testament to the community, and the community has people that are wonderfully brilliant, talented, dedicated, selfless. And that's, you think about all these attributes of what a community is. And I get to see this every day through the team, through you. Every time I have a LinkedIn feed in the morning, Roberto's on there somewhere in the world talking about something. And that's community, right?
That's right.
And it's funny, the database world, database and caching world is a very small world. And like we all, intertwine through our careers. It's fun to, start talking to colleagues that used to work at AWS that now work on Google, and we have a common shared mission on how to make Valkey great. And that's been, to me, it's exceeded expectations, and just the growth, like just the customer reception. How many customers I go to where, I'm like, hey, Joe, or, Elasticache, oh yeah, we've already migrated 100% to Valkey. And these are huge multinational corporations. And let me tell you, no, we already understand the value. Great price performance. It's, it's screaming fast, makes total sense to us. We've already migrated completely. The multinational company, we've already migrated 100% to Valkey. And I'm just blown away by how many times I have that conversation. So like, to me, the Amazonian in me is, how could we be better? There's always room for improvement, but like, wow, after 2 years, like, I don't think I could have written a story that is as compelling as the one that Valkey has gone down.
The approach that the hyperscalers and the contributors are making for Valkey, it's a little unprecedented. Like in a lot of projects, open source projects that are backed by a single vendor, a lot of features are often kind of held back because they're held for enterprises. But I'm curious, when you release capabilities that drop memory usage in Valkey by 20% or increase the throughput per node, you're just killing business. Like that's like self-cannibalization of revenue. How do you sleep at night?
This is one of the things I love about working at Amazon is the customer obsession. And I think kind of students feel very strongly is if we enable customers to do and they get more value out of the product, that they're going to be able to do more with it.
Yep.
And if we're not pushing the limit, somebody else is going to. And that all comes back to, as time goes on, we want customers to do more with their instance. We want to go from, improve the price performance, because that's customer obsession. And, the business will take care of itself if we take care of customers.
And also in this new agentic world, I feel like the pie for infra usage is expanding rapidly.
Yep.
And you gotta be competing for capability and speed and price performance.
Yeah, like, it's a very competitive industry out there, right? And there's a lot of very talented and very capable companies and folks out there. And, this is the one also too, kind of to your point about Valkey is, there's so many people collaborating on this that are all, in the same domain. And this is there's not just one winner. There is a real, rising tides raise all ships, and everybody, there can be many winners and many people can be successful. And that's been one of the really beautiful things I think with Valkey is it's really proven that is we don't need, we can collaborate across the industry to do something that's better for everybody.
So we're at Unlocked, and I showed up in the morning, and around 8 o'clock, a lot of the Elasticache folks were gathered. They looked very serious. They were out there on the field. There was product management, there was engineering, and they were all gathered around their laptops. What was going on?
We launched Valkey 9 in Elasticache today, and that was the very tail end of the launch. So I would say launching a service in Amazon, we flighted over many regions over
Yep.
many days, and we typically like when the launch completely finishes and is in every region. So when we tell customers it's there and they go to their favorite region, it exists.
It's actually there.
So we were doing the very final polishing on confirming the launch was all ready, and then pushing the what's new post, which you've done in your life,
Yes.
and getting the docs out there and making sure everything was rolling. And we wanted to do that before Moss was up.
So I can go provision Valkey 9 on
It's all there
Elasticache
today.
now?
It's all there.
Okay,
It's all
awesome.
there.
Fantastic. Well, Valkey would not be what it is without the commitment with which and the passion with which you, the leadership team at Amazon, Google, Ericsson, everywhere is just pushing it. It's one thing to do lip service to it. It's another to week after week just continue contributing technically and to the community. So I really appreciate what you all have done for the world by setting an example of what an open source, open governance project ought to behave like.
Yeah, and I'll give all credit to the team. We're humbled to be a part of it, and we're really bullish and excited about the future of Valkey and continue to innovate for customers.